up, y'all, and welcome to Guardian Chronicles Let's Talk Live, and happy Tuesday. Today we are sitting with Crystal Bailey, who is the former candidate for Michigan State Representative District 5. Today we will be discussing her life after the ballot, what made her run for office, what she learned, and what's next. So let's get her right on in here. Let me go ahead and invite her. I hope you guys are doing great. Crystal is so amazing, guys. When she was running for city council, my sis in my head. And per the usual, if you see me looking down, I have my cheat sheet. One sec, guys. Make sure I get her in here. And then, by the way, while I'm waiting on her, I did get a few DMs with questions that I wanted to make sure that I asked today. So if you guys do have any questions, make sure to hit the question button. And then that way I can answer them accordingly. Just be patient though, because I don't want to cut her off while she's talking. Okay, there's Crystal. Hey, all right. She's in here, guys. So now we just got to get her in the live. Okay, 1 second. Says she's unable to join. That's okay. That's the great thing about lives, y'all. We will get it together. Let's see. Hey, Crystal, I'm trying to get you on. You may want to come out and then come back in, or you can request to join. Do you see it should be an option in the comments that says request to join. I invited you, but if you don't see the invite, it should be a request to join in the comments. Let me know if you see it or not. When I hit the invite, by the way, it may come to your DM. So you may have to go out and then come back in. If not, you should see the request to join inside of this live. Okay, I think we got you. There we go. Don't we just love the lives? The lives show us all the behind the scenes. The whole BTS. Now, you did do the request and I accepted you, but you want to make sure that you hit that accept. Okay, try it again, Crystal. Thank you guys for being patient with us. We'll get it right. There we go.
Okay.
That's our girl.
Hello.
So
How y'all doing?
good, good. How are you?
Fantastic. I am truly fantastic. Thank you for having me on today.
Oh, of course, of course, of course. I want to jump right on in.
Okay.
So we know what the results were. None of us were happy with those results. I want to know, what space were you in once you got those results for state rep?
I was at home and we were just waiting for the results, and the results came in and we were at like almost 7,000. We were like, okay, we're waiting, we're getting to our win number, and last time I ran this race just 2 years ago, when the lines were redrawn, only 15,000 people came out total in the primary election. So 15,000 people came out. So the win number started off at 8,000. So as long as we got 8,000, we knew we would have won it. Well, we didn't quite get to 8,000. We were at 7,700 And we just didn't quite make that 8. But more people came out this time. I think it was the U.S. Senate race that really drummed up some energy and got people coming to the polls. I know I was on the polls. We got a lot of first time voters and younger voters that was like 22, 21 years old and just knew they were coming to vote for their U.S. Senate candidate, but did not know what candidate they were going to vote for all the other races. So it was really interesting to see.
Okay. And you're absolutely right. When I went out there, I'm like, oh God, all these people are here. You know, I've been rocking with you since I found out when you were running for city council. I was like, oh, this
Yeah.
girl when I interviewed you last time. So
Yeah.
let's go to the beginning. What even made you run for state rep?
You know, the redistricting really got me engaged with wanting to run for the state house. So the redistricting happened. Our lines were gerrymandered. They were diluting the black votes, making it hard for black people to get elected. And we had a lawsuit called AG versus Benson, like Jocelyn Benson. And the
Mhm.
lawsuit went on, and it was to fight to have our lines redrawn so that it could be no longer gerrymandered, so we can get our voting power back. And we won the lawsuit. And the only reason how we won that lawsuit was because of the 1965 Voting Rights Act. Actually, Section 2 within the Voting Rights Act saying you can't draw lines based on race. And that's the same Section 2 that was dismantled a couple months ago with the Supreme Court. So they now can go back and redraw the lines, undo what we did, and gerrymander our state map again. But for now, we're at a 75% Black voting age population. And for the first time ever, Oak Park had the opportunity to have Black representation because our lines are no longer diluting the Black vote. Oak Park is a majority Black community, as well as Royal Oak Township and Northwest Detroit. So that pushed up the number to 75% Black voting age population so that we can have Black representation.
That is awesome. That is so awesome. Now, you were really campaigning too. I mean, you were door to door all over Oak Park. I just saw Crystal Bailey, Crystal Bailey, Crystal Bailey on everyone's lawn. And as we stated earlier, even though the results weren't what we wanted, it was so close. It was so close. When you were going door to door, what were our neighbors saying to you? What were they concerns that they were really pushing for during the campaign?
Well, you know, the same thing that I was running on. I didn't pick the issues that I decided to run on. I talked to the neighbors, I talked to the residents, and they said, my taxes are too high. I concur. My taxes are too high. You know, and they also said my auto insurance rates are too high. And
Mhm.
water bills. I mean, the cost of living is too high. So those are some issues that they talked to me about. Gun violence in our community is just out of control. We need to get a handle on it. We're losing our children left and right. Gun violence is the number one killer of our children. And I'm the advocate for end gun violence of Michigan, a volunteer as well. And we advocate. I have laws that I was ready to introduce that I've already written up. I've written legislation for when I became state rep to introduce. And I'm not going just because I did not. Um, I was not successful with this race does not mean I'm not going to continue to advocate for these issues because these are the issues that concern me and my neighbors. So I'm going to continue to advocate. I'm the vice chair of the Behavioral Health Advisory Council for the state of Michigan. And I'm going to continue advocating for mental and behavioral health as well. So all of the issues that I ran on were all the issues that the constituents were talking about as I was knocking doors.
Okay. Look, I hear you 100% and I agree on everything that you said. And being a Oak Park resident myself, like you said, I I'm very concerned about the gun violence that's happening. You know, even most recently, that was one block away from me where those poor teenagers, I want to say it was two teenagers that was dead during a or unalive during a I think it was like a fight or something like that. They had a house party. They asked someone, one of the teens asked someone to leave, and then they came back and brought guns. And now we have two children that are unalive that were visiting, one visiting from college and then one that was from the neighborhood. So it's like typically I've been over here since 2019, and I'm not really used to these things happening all the time. And it seems like it has been increasing over the years. It's 2026, and it's like that has to stop. I remember at one time when you were running for city council, you had a mental health initiative that I really liked, to have our neighbors that have those in the household with mental health conditions registered. So that way, officers are aware in a crisis as to how they need to handle a situation, things like that, that I know that you are still vouching for. Like, I just want to give you your flowers and let you know that I appreciate all that you do. And like you said, despite the outcome, I know that you're going to continue to advocate for our community, and I appreciate that.
Oh yes, absolutely. And thank you for being aware and being in the know, to
Yeah.
understand what's happening right here in our backyard. A
Yeah.
lot of people don't know. A lot of people don't even understand why their district has changed,
Mhm.
why their precinct number has changed. And we need to do a better job. Our elected officials could do a better job, and our city officials can do a better job with letting the community know, hey, there's an election going on. This is what's happening. This is what millage is on the ballot. And hey, this is how your taxes will increase. So they'll say, here's a renewal that was just on our ballot. Here's a renewal and it will not increase your taxes. Okay. But what they do not tell you that if you vote no on it, it will decrease your taxes.
Mhm.
And a lot of people in Oak Park that own their homes, they're capped, so which means that their taxes only increase by 5% or the rate of inflation. And my taxes, when I bought my home, I've been living in Oak Park since 1998 and bounced around as a renter until 2019 when I purchased my home in East Oak Park. When I purchased my home, my taxes was right around $1,800. Well, that following year, when they uncapped, my taxes were $7,000
Oh
all
my gosh.
summer and winter. That's just ridiculous. How can a new homeowner sustain that when they first didn't realize that that was going to be the number? Then their mortgage also increased. Mine increased almost $400 monthly to my mortgage. So, I mean, we want to keep home ownership, in our community. We don't want to, we price our residents out of our community. We want to keep them. We want to keep families, retain families in home ownership. And that's getting harder and harder to do with the tax system that we have in Michigan. We need to have a real serious conversation around the tax system in Michigan, around not just our property taxes, but income taxes, our sales taxes, just overall in Michigan, we need to have a serious conversation about our taxes.
I agree with you 100%. And I would like to piggyback off of that. Same thing with me. When I first got here, 2019, I'm a homeowner. My taxes were like 20 something hundred. Now they're like $4,000. I was, oh my gosh. And now my mortgage went up. It started off at 12 and now I'm at like 15 and some change. And that's making everything tight. It's making my money tight in every arena. I'm a caregiver too, as you know. I'm a caregiver for my mom, my aunt. So I have one income with three people that I need to be just dividing all of my monies. The only thing that I will say that helped me for people that are not familiar with it is the loan modification.
Mhm.
Now, loan modifications, they can help you in the short run. Sometimes it depends on your mortgage company. It could benefit in the long run or it may not. For myself, what happened is I contacted my mortgage company. I told them, listen, at the time, I want to say it was like 13 and some change, my mortgage. And I was like, I can't pay this. This is too much. And they were like, okay, what we'll do is take 3 months of your mortgage and we'll put it towards the end of your loan. Now that did increase my interest rate by 1%, but I did have 3 months of not having to pay my mortgage.
Hmm.
Right now, so it does have other stipulations and things I won't speak about during this live, but I do think for guys that are watching, or if you know someone that is having some difficulty, you have that option, the loan modifications, and then HUD. They always want to send us to HUD. Here's the
Yeah.
thing about HUD. HUD ain't never got no money.
Right, that part.
The HUD, they always say if you're ever having problems with your mortgage, go to HUD. And it's like HUD will keep you on the line. HUD, if y'all are watching, that's another conversation. I do think it would be a good idea if someone that's the head honcho speaks with you in regards to that, because we want people to stay in their homes. That was one of the questions actually sent to me in a DM for you. Like, what is going on with financial help to help people remain in their homes? You know?
Yeah. And at a state level, the initiatives that I had planned was to expand the Neighborhood Enterprise Zone Tax Reduction Act. That's something Detroiters are benefiting from, but it could be expanded to other municipalities such as Oak Park. And that was what I was working towards, was expanding the Neighborhood Enterprise Homestead Tax Reduction Act, which would have helped with a little relief. Not much, but it would have given us a little relief at the state level. But like I said, we need to have a serious conversation around the taxes. And so that was that. But as far as our auto insurance rates, I had three initiatives around lowering our auto insurance rates. One, right now, we have the weakest definition for what an excessive rate is. We can strengthen what the definition for what an excessive rate is. Two, we can get rid of the filing use system. And three, we can make that insurance commissioner a statewide elected position rather than that person being elected by the governor. So we want the insurance commissioner to have the consumers, the people, the residents' best interest, not the governmental stature.
Yeah. See, I like that because here's the thing, insurance rates is another. Because living in Oak Park, we're a borderline Detroit. So we end up kind of, with all due respect to the city, we kind of get penalized for the city because they're like, oh, you're close to the city. You're not really in the suburbs. So we're not getting the benefits that someone in Rochester Hills or Troy, Michigan would get. And
You can't tell Detroiters that.
I know, sorry, Detroiters. I love Detroit, all my family in Detroit, but we don't get the benefits of the quote unquote Oak Park suburb. We don't. But I think too, going back to the ballot, I think a lot of people, like if I talk to my friends and family and even my neighbors, a lot of people don't know what those proposals mean. Because even when I looked at it, I'm not gonna lie to you, I was like, okay, I thought I knew what I was doing. I went straight to ChatGPT and I was like, can you put this in simple terms for
Yeah, yeah.
me?
Yeah, I mean, and that's done on purpose too. It's those that language is very tricky, and if you don't get it, you don't know, should I vote yeah, should I vote no, because the language is tricky. And then where is this money going to? Brownsfield. They tell you, you just gotta read the fine print. You have to do your research. You have to study the candidates, the proposals. You have to be well informed on these issues before you go to the ballot. And that's what I like to help with as far as civic engagement, getting people to understand civics. They don't understand the literacy around what's happening and as far when it comes to civic engagement. And it's really important in our community, in every community, because in Oak Park, the local elections, we have no idea it's in a local election going on because most of the time they're not contested. When it is contested, Crystal Bailey's in the race.
Mhm.
So that's when we start seeing yard signs of people. Okay, there's an election coming, but that should not be the only telltale that an election is coming. I think the city should do a better job getting more information out, saying, "Hey, there's an election coming." Talking more about what's happening and as far as civic engagement with the municipality and the residents. When I was standing on the polls, they had yard signs of an event that was happening. Well, this is during early voting, 9 days of early voting, and we're at the Oak Park Community Center, and there were yard signs that said, "Hey," uh, it was in a different language, so it said something about a concert and something about
Oh,
Jewish.
I saw that. Yeah,
Yes.
I know what you're talking about because that's where I do my runs. Okay, yeah.
Yes. So what that was, there was Jewish people that traveled from all over the country that came to Oak Park and went to our new event hub and held a concert, and they talked about voting and who they were going to vote for. And they organized. And after they left that concert, because it said concert on there, but they all had their ballots and they all talked about, hey, who we're going to rally behind and vote for. After they left this event, they walked right over to the library, then they walked right over to the community center and they went ahead and voted for their chosen candidate. So situations like that, if we can organize our own communities of people and work together and talk about what's happening and who educate each other on the candidates and the proposals and stuff, that would be much needed. I think we would see a higher turnout during our local elections as well as in primary elections, because most people wait to November and vote and not really vote in the primary. And primary in August is when it's really needed because that determines who will be on the ballot in November for the general election.
Yep, I agree with you 100%. I also would like to add, I noticed that, and I'm not going to put a specific candidate out there, but I will say when it comes to our African American people, we come out when there is maybe someone that we love that's going to be present there. So let's say if it's a rapper, Sada Baby or Eminem or whoever, just throwing people out there. I noticed that, we seem to be a little bit more present if there is someone there that we admire, that we idolize, that's from the city. So I think in saying what you said, I agree 1,000,000%. But adding on to that, having someone there that the community would actually, especially the younger generation, I'm 41, but I noticed that when I was looking at other campaigns, even for the city, I remember when I will say that when Mary Sheffield, as an example, when she was running, she had all these celebrities behind her back. Granted, it doesn't take away from as wonderful as she is, what she has been for this community, everything she has done, but in having these celebs and these local prominent people behind her that also helps for people to come out and vote because they're like, oh, I want to be a part of this. I want to, engage because you feel when it comes to that type of engagement that sometimes it takes a prominent person to come out and actually get everyone to vote.
Mhm. Mhm.
How does that
And,
make you feel?
you know, my campaign was totally different than that. I ran a grassroots, homegrown campaign. And when I say grassroots, I mean all the money that was raised was from friends, family, and local community leaders, such as those who just right here in the community. I didn't have a bunch of politicians backing me. I had grassroots people. And when I say homegrown, I'm right here, born and raised in Northwest Detroit, graduated from school in Oak Park, served at the Oak Park School Board as vice president. And so grassroots, homegrown, right through the community. And that's the kind of campaign that I ran. The other candidates that was in my particular race, uh, they just didn't have the home groups on both sides of 8 Mile like I did.
Yeah, girl, you had them billboards. I said, look at my girl. Look at her.
Yeah, we spent a lot of money. So now we're regrouping, recouping from the money that was spent. I put a lot of money into the campaign out of my own pocket as well. So right now we're just rebuilding, re-strategizing, and hitting the ground running. No, we didn't have major politicians or headliner artists that got behind us, but the people that did, they are people who've been with me, such as yourself, from the beginning. The first time I ever ran a campaign was in 2018, and my focus then was mental health, eradication of gun violence, and the school to prison pipeline. and strengthening our education system, all the way around. And my focus has not changed. I may have added other issues because of things evolving, time has changed, but overall, gun violence, school safety, and education, we're going to always need to continue to advocate for those three issues. And the other issues that I added on was just from talking to residents and life experiences.
And just to, again, I have to tell you this. I appreciate the way that you ran your campaign because you, like you said, I think it's a beautiful thing when people have that representation of politicians that's backing them up, famous people. But you are like the homegirl. You are like our family. You are like our sister, for some aunt, for some, it's like you were sis. And you were someone that I was looking at you literally going from door to door on my way jogging or on the way, running errands, and you're talking to your community. And that's what we need. We need someone that's going to step foot in the community and actually see what these issues are and propose some ways to change them and create a resolution. Now, before we go into what's next for you after the ballot, I do want to know, this was a DM to me. They wanted to know, what did you learn in the process of running for Michigan State Representative District 5, and how did you, or what did you learn about yourself during that process?
Oh, wow. Well, I definitely learned how resilient I am to continue to go through this process.
Okay.
Campaigning is not, well, isn't always. Now, I've ran a few campaigns and they're not always as pleasant. This time it was a little bit, I just say rough. I'll say rough because it usually in the race I'm running against someone in Oakland County, but because the lines were drawn, it was Oakland County and Wayne County, so it was it was a shift in the race, and so I learned a lot about the racial dynamics of the party and the party, and when I say the party, of the Democratic Party, and the racial divide within the Democratic Party. And I learned about that. With learning about the racial divide in the Democratic Party, that's when I realized how resilient I am going through this whole process and multiple times. So, yeah, thank you for that question.
Yes, yes. I wanted to make sure I added it in there because I was like, they gave me a long paragraph, but that pretty much summed it up.
Okay.
Now let's get to it. What is next after the ballot?
Well, what's next? I have gotten a promotion at work.
Oh, congrats.
So much, and I am so appreciative to the Wayne County Clerk, Kathy M. Garrett. She has given me a promotion and hired me as the Director of Community Relations for Wayne County Clerk's Office. And so I'm really excited about this position because I'm just in a community. And like I said, just being in a community, listening to people, that just drives me. It ignites me, talking to residents, listening to their concerns and their opinions and their thoughts, just seeing how we can bring resources from the Wayne County Clerk's Office to the community when it comes to CPLs, assumed names, doing business as, birth certificates, death certificates, vital records, all of the services that Wayne County provides. I would have set up vendor tables in the community, resort tables, making sure the community knows what the Wayne County Clerk Office has. And I'm very excited about this opportunity.
All right. That is awesome. Congrats, Crystal. That is awesome. We're going to have to talk offline because I may need to jump in there somewhere.
Yeah.
We don't talk. Now, I do want to know, and I'm sure everyone else wants to know, would you run again?
You know, everyone said, don't give up, do it again. You have to, we need you. And
Mhm.
you know, I was not sad that I lost because I knew God does not make any mistakes. And I knew he has something better for me. And but what did sadden me is for all the supporters. I got over 77,000 voters that came out to vote for me. And those people, I would say like 90% of those people, if they didn't just meet me at the poll that day, they knew they were coming to vote for Crystal Bailey. You know, they knew that Crystal Bailey was their choice without a doubt. And so those are those diehard supporters of me that I feel like I let down. So I have to do something for them, you know.
No, you didn't.
I feel like because they were really rooting for me. They like, oh, you got to get it this time. We're going to get you there, you know. And I feel them, and I really, you know, feel like I can't stop because of them. But financially, move, you know, because the money that it takes, it's like you're just spending money to throw it away. I mean, I'm buying t-shirts, giving them away. I'm buying flyers, giving them away. I'm doing design for flyers, giving them away. I'm just buying stuff to just give away. Like, so financially, that's not feasible for me to continue running campaigns like that. So, but if I were to run again, we will have to have some big financial backing behind the campaign because I can't fund another one.
Okay. Well, if you did, all of us, actually, probably it's gonna be a whole nother
Yeah,
70,000 people
yeah, yeah,
go
yeah.
back up. Girl,
Yeah.
you have a lot of people that love you. You have a lot of people that want to see you win, including myself. So if you do change your mind and you decide to run again, you know to come to me. I'm gonna help you. I'm gonna back you up, and I'm sure everybody that did before, and even more people will, because now even more people know about you. Like you said, like the numbers were so close. It was like 1,000 short of you winning, you know. And so now all those people know about you. I know, right? It's like all these people know about you and they're going to want to follow you and follow your journey and see how they can help, see how they can be an asset for those who want that, who want to continue maybe volunteering and navigating where you are in the community. How would someone even reach you to be able to do so?
Well, you know, in the role that I'm in now, I'm able to work with the community and the youth and help with literacy and civic engagement. So I'm very proud of that role that Madam Clerk has given to me. And I will work in that capacity for the clerk, not for myself. Up to me, they would need to be a resident in Wayne County that's looking for resources from the clerk. And I'm just the messenger. So we really will be in high schools and colleges throughout Wayne County, offering resources from the Wayne County Clerk's office.
Okay, so you'll be working pretty much within Wayne.
Yes.
All right. So for those that want to contact you, they can send you a DM. What about, is there a email address or somewhere they can reach out to you if they want to actually like maybe even do mentorship with you?
Yeah, well, you know, they can DM me at official Crystal Bailey for mentorships or any opportunities personally. But as far as the role that I'm in, as far as the director of community relations for Wayne County Clerk's office, I am still waiting on my phone to hear my credentials. So all of that information will be on the clerk's website.
All right. That is awesome. All right, guys. Crystal, thank you so much. Thank you so much for taking, look, my call. And taking my call. You,
Yes.
I reached out to you and I said, when I saw you at the polls and we took our picture, I said, yeah, I'm going to reach out to her in a text and we're going to see if we can get this going because I wanted to make sure that I spoke with you, got your voice again, on this live. And I want people to be able to hear your initiatives, hear what it is that you want to do. Even though I know you're like, I don't know if I'm going to do it again, just know that there are people like myself and people that are watching that we root for you no matter what you do. In your current director role, if you decide to come back in campaigning, whether that's for city council, state rep, or however you decide to do, I just want to thank you for being an advocate for our community. Me residing in Oak Park, you've been an advocate. I've been seeing you for years, door to door, being our sis in the community. And I just want to appreciate you and thank you for your time today.
Oh, thank you, Christina. You are a blessing. You are a dream. You keep continue doing what you're doing, being a voice for us and the spaces that you're in with the caregiver and mental health. We thank you for the work that you're doing, and I appreciate you.
Thank you. Thank you. And thank you, you guys, for watching Guardian Chronicles Let's Talk Live with Crystal Bailey. Please make sure that you guys tag and share this video to everyone you know. And join us again next week, Tuesday, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for Guardian Chronicles Let's Talk Live. Have a great evening, everyone. Bye.
Bye.